Hey everybody, Dave here from Dave Tries to Fix Stuff, channel dedicated to the repair, restoration, and resurrection of broken stuff. And in this episode, I've got this Harmony Flying V that I'm going to try and get working again. Want to see if I can do it? Stick around, we'll find out together. I've had this guitar for a while. I love it. I mean, it's a cool little guitar. It's never quite worked right though. I've never really had good tone out of the pickups that have been in it. I've actually changed the pickups out in this thing before, but I've used, you know, like just throwaway crappy garbage pickups out of like cheap Chinese knockoff guitars and all that. So they've never been very good pickups in this thing. And I'm going to change that with some, actually bought a couple sets of pickups and they're slightly different. One says 1959, one says 1957. These are, goodness, I can't remember the name of them. It's a British company that that makes them, and that I bought them from. I'll put in the description below what company I got these from, but these are supposed to be fairly decent pickups on here. Like I said, I got a couple sets of them. One of them is going to go into another guitar that I've got, another Telecaster type guitar that I've got, and that's going to be the lower impedance one. The higher impedance one here, which should be the higher output, I got to figure out which one is which. That's what's going to go in here because I want this to be more of a rocker guitar. I'm also going to change out all of the potentiometers. The switch I may change out, I'm not sure. It all depends on what I can get to fit in there. Put in new capacitor for tone and all that good stuff, and try to get this thing to sound better than it did. It had a very thin, very nasally, trebly sound to the pickups that I was never really satisfied with. So.
Audio Jungle.
So one thing that I noticed when I was looking at this thing is after disconnecting the leads on this, the height of these lugs, these connection lugs, are different. And they're not supposed to be. I mean, it's not true exactly. These two are, the one back here and this one here are about the same height, and then these two are supposed to be about the same height. But because I was disconnecting them, I guess I got this thing pretty hot, and I don't know how easy it is to show up on the camera, but the plastic around here melted a little bit, and these actually were kind of moving up and down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hook up my multimeter here, like that, and we are going to test, oops, we're going to test continuity, which sounded like we had continuity right there. Let's put that on a little better. Okay, so we have continuity there and there. That's good. Well, see, just went out. So that's telling me that there's something wrong, there's something faulty with this thing. Let's see what this one's like. Still a little, yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to get that off of there. I think I'm going to take this thing apart and verify that this will still work consistently and not be a problem, because the last thing I want is to have this thing. I've had another guitar that was like that I never did work on, but the switch like this was inconsistent, and there were times when, you know, I'd switch it on and I would have dead silence, and I'd have to kind of, you know, do this and it would kind of pop in. So I'm going to take this apart and see what I get with it. So essentially what you've got are some spring-loaded, connections right here. So I can push that down like that. This side can get pushed down like that. So when this thing's sitting on here and it's in the middle, both of those spring-loaded connections are making connection with this plate in the middle, which this plate is hooked up to that connection right there. So when the plate's in place and it's at rest like that, everything connects. But when you push down one side, you see how it disconnects that right there? It pushes that away from that plate. Same as on this side, it pushes it away from that plate, and it's no longer making contact. So I just need to make sure that this thing is going to be making contact with this while it's on here. Okay, so it looks like it should be okay, hopefully. Let's get it put back together and see if it still works. Okay, so as it stands now, it is working, which is good. The only concern I have, and this is why I don't like these, is because of this problem. I like the ones that have the, the horseshoe shaped bails on them with the switch in between where it's got the two things that knock away. I like those a lot better. This one I'm not real big on, but the concern I have with this is that once I get the wires hooked back up to this and solder them, is the soldering going to cause a disconnection again? So I guess we will see when the time comes. But anywho. Now you see, these are the kind of stupid mistakes that piss me off. Stupid shit that I do that just to no end. These are the new ones I got. These are the ones that were in there. You can see the difference. The shank on that is like almost twice as long. These are not long enough to get through there. I'm going to take a break. Okay, so it's been a while since I've worked on this thing. By a while, I mean probably a couple of months. Because at first I was just very frustrated with all this stuff, you know, getting all this work done and then realizing I had the wrong parts. That sucked. But then I had to order the right stuff, which I've got some of the ones I need here. I also got some of these too, some of these switches. So I think I'm going to change that switch out too, so I have a better switch in there. So the part of it was the fact that I got frustrated. Part of it was I had to order new parts, and then I also had a couple other projects that kind of came up in the meanwhile. So this kind of fell to the back seat. But now I'm here to get it done. So let's. Basically, what I need to do is just switch out these three components for the ones that I need, and get everything put back into it, and that should basically do it. So let's go ahead and get going on that, and we'll see what we end up with. Okay, so I've got everything back in here, and it is still working. So what I need to do is I've got some which ones do I want to use here? I've got a couple of different choices here. It really doesn't look like there's much of a difference between them. Volume, tone, Ah, looks like I got a broken piece in here. Well, look at that. How nice. This one's broken out on the inside. And the thing is not even all the pieces are in there. So this thing was broken out before they even put it in the bag, and they still put it in the bag. That's kind of crap. Luckily I only paid a few cents for these things. I really didn't pay very much for them. And the good news is that it's actually a volume one, which I really don't. I only need one volume and 2 tones, and I've got tone, and volume here. And no, this one's broken too. Unbelievable. I don't even know if you can see that. Tell you what, that's kind of a bunch of horseshit. Another broken piece. Are any of these working? That one's good. These 2 are good here. Like I said, luckily I've got a big stash of these over here too, but that kind of pisses me off. Luckily I didn't leave them good feedback. Alright, these are all nice and smooth. That's good. Alright, so we just need to get this thing strung up again. Make sure the intonation's still good. Get the height set on these things, and we'll give it a test spin as far as tone. Alright. Okay, so I got this thing all strung up. I got the intonation set on it. So I'm thinking it should sound pretty good. I'm hoping. We're going to go ahead and do a tone test or a sound test through this PV Express 112. This is an amplifier I recently picked up, a little solid state thing. It needs a little bit of work done on it itself. I'm going to feature that in a future video, but for right now, this is going to work just fine for the purposes of demonstrating this little bad boy. So. Tone works okay. Let's try the neck pickup. Not quite as much response, it doesn't sound like, on the tone knob for the neck pickup, but it is working. There is a difference, but it's kind of tough to tell, so. I like it. This thing's got good tone. These, I'll tell you what, these pickups sound 100 times better than the ones that I had in here before. The ones before were really thin and you know, tinny sounding, and that may have cleaned up the sound. And I'm sure the thing is, I'll probably use those pickups in another guitar down the road somewhere. I'm not someone that normally, you know, changes something out and then just gets rid of the old stuff. That stuff's going to go in my parts stash. I'll use them eventually, and with the right value of pots, I'm sure they'll sound great. So, but I'm happy with this. It sounds good. We're going to chalk this one up as another success. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you click like, click subscribe. If you have any comments or questions or anything like that, leave them down below for me, and I appreciate you watching. Until next time, this is Dave Tries to Fix Stuff. Thanks for watching the video, and we'll see you soon.